This is Art Television.
Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Mariam Vijayaratna. Let's have a look at the headlines first. NCPI inflation reaches 73.7% in September 2022. Government raises revenue with new taxes. News in detail. Headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the National Consumer Price Index increased to 73.7% in September 2022. This increase in inflation from 70.2% in August 2022 was driven by the monthly increases of both food and non-food categories. Year-on-year food inflation increased to 85.8% in September 2022 from 84.6% in August 2022, while non-food inflation increased to 62.8% in September 2022 from 57.1% in August 2022. It is noteworthy that the moderation observed in month-on-month inflation recently continued in September 2022. The monthly change of the National Consumer Price Index recorded at 2.34% in September 2022 was due to price increases observed in items of both non-food and food categories, which were 1.96% and 0.38% respectively. Within the non-food category, increases were observed in prices of housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels on the miscellaneous goods and services subcategories during the month. Within the food category, increases were observed in prices of fruits, wheat flour and chicken. However, prices of rice, sugar and dal increased during the month. Meanwhile, annual average inflation rose to 36.9% in September 2022 from 31.3% in August 2022. Year-on-year core inflation, which reflects the underlying inflation in the economy, increased to 64.1% in September 2022 from 60.5% in August 2022. Annual average core inflation increased to 31% in September 2022 from 26% in August 2022. The annual taxes imposed on casinos has been increased by 150% from 200 million rupees to 500 million rupees. The hike in the taxes imposed on casinos is in effect from the 1st of August 2022. The gaming and gambling tax was also increased according to State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya. The Ministry of Finance in a statement said that the amendments will be made to the betting and gaming levy tax Act number 40 of 1988. Accordingly, a higher registration fee will be imposed for casinos along with a $20 entrance fee for any Sri Lankan entering the premises. Other tax amendments include an annual tax increase to 1 million rupees for live betting centres and an increase to 15% tax on turnover for live betting centres. They also include an annual tax increase to 5 million rupees for betting agents and an annual tax increase to 75,000 rupees on non-live betting centres. The Ministry of Finance announced that after imposing the taxes, these businesses will be taxed 40% of their profits. In addition to these taxes, tax will be imposed on a bottle of liquor and each cigarette at 75% and 85% respectively. Meanwhile, the new income tax amendment bill recently presented to Parliament provides an opportunity to levy an income tax of 6 to 36% on people whose monthly income exceeds 100,000 rupees. According to these amendments, income tax will be charged at the existing rate for the first 6 months of this financial year up to 30th September. As Sri Lanka has taken bold steps in recent weeks to increase state revenue by way of increasing tax rates, These come despite the unprecedented economic hardships experienced by the people amid roaring inflation. Leading economists point out that the biggest mistake the policymakers continue with is making big decisions on tax policy behind closed doors, a couple of. As taxes are borne by people and businesses, Dr. Shantayanand Devarajan said it is imperative for them to be consulted in the decision-making process. The government should do away with treating tax policies as a complicated matter that cannot be understood by the public. Addressing a webinar hosted by Verite Research this week, the former World Bank senior director asserted that tax policy or budget policy is not rocket science. Following the gazette of the new tax policy, the public and industries have voiced their concerns of the fact that they are unable to absorb the high rates as they are still grappling with the economic crisis. The announcement by the government came as a shock to many. Dr. Devarajan pointed out that in Sri Lanka, the issue is not the lack of competence or lack of advisors, it is a lack of accountability. The economist asserted that the people should caution the government that the budget would be scrutinized very carefully, not just what is published, but the manner in which it is implemented as well. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. The construction sector's struggle amidst the economic crisis recently came under review at a high-level meeting chaired by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Key issues affecting stakeholders and proposed plans to address them were discussed at length during the special meeting. Attention was given to issues concerning contractors, banks and other financial entities and was discussed at length during the meeting. In addition, President Wickremesinghe reviewed the progress of middle-income housing projects and discussed delays in construction as well as road development projects. The President also called authorities' attention to the program to be followed for the stability of the construction sector and job security. He also instructed officials to appoint a committee to discuss the issues and provide further recommendations. Representatives from the construction industry also requested President Wickremesinghe to establish a special task force to improve the construction sector. Minister Bandula Gunawardena, State Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna, Senior Presidential Advisor on National Security and Presidential Staff Chief Sagala Ratnayaka and President Secretary Saman Ekanayaka attended the meeting. Also present at this discussion were Senior Economic Advisor to the President R.H.S. Samaratunga and heads of institutions related to the construction sector were. President Ranil Wickremesinghe recently met with the prefects of Royal College Colombo at the Presidential Secretariat. The President, in response to issues raised by the prefects, said that university bottlenecks are being addressed and that students should band together against ragging.
So when you all go there, you all must stand up to the ragging, no? If you all and the other big schools get together, D.S. Charanayaka, Thurston, Ananda, you all can easily take these guys on. I don't know why you all are all submitting to this. Large numbers going from these schools. The head prefects of all these schools should speak to each other and ensure that their people are not this thing. Otherwise, university life is good and we can develop it, but they are taking ragging.
When we are going to local universities, there's a quite delay when we are getting out from the university, and the start is quite delayed.
We are trying to handle that. The start gets delayed, this thing. That's true, and your 3 years becomes 4 years. We are working that out with these things. We'll talk with the university, but we are hoping to start more universities. We'll start the Kurunegala University College campus and the Batiklo Walichena University, then most probably National School of Business Management, the Green University will become a university. We are looking at some other private universities to come up. Even SLIIT, if they want, we'll give them university status. So most of them can come up as universities. Colombo also, I want engineering faculty. I thought we'll give them a separate campus.
Sri Lanka is currently implementing the second stage of the hydrochlorofluorocarbon phase-out management plan for the gradual phase-out of hydrofluorocarbons. This follows the successful phasing out of chlorofluorocarbons in the refrigerations and air conditioning sector. To ensure compliance with the Montreal Protocol, Sri Lanka has established a licensing and quota system for HCFC imports and exports. In 2018, Sri Lanka ratified the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer, including the phase down of the production and consumption of HFCs. During Stage 2 of the hydrochlorofluorocarbon phase-out management plan, short, medium and long-term strategies will be developed to continue the HCFC phase-out effort. It will also facilitate the safe introduction of new alternatives to sustain the HCFC phase-out in light of the overarching strategy. The HCFC phase-out strategy specially focuses on energy efficiency and has programs designed to train technicians, enhance training facilities at training centers and provide essential tools towards phasing out the use of HFCs. The HFC phase-down strategy specially focuses on energy efficiency and has programs designed to train technicians, enhance training facilities at training centers and provide essential tools towards phasing out the use of HFCs. Sri Lanka, with the assistance from the United Nations Development Programme, secured finances from the Multilateral Fund to develop the HFC phase-down plan for the country. As part of developing the HFC phase-down management plan of the Kigali implementation plan, the National Ozone Unit of the Environment Ministry is in the process of collecting the baseline information on HFC usage in the country. That's all we have for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care. Good night.